All right, boys and girls, so let's make a sunflower together. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a circle. This is gonna be the center of our flower where the sunflower seeds grow. Now you can trace a circle or you can free draw it. I'm just gonna draw one right in the middle. Doesn't matter if it's perfect or not because we're gonna be adding color and paints on top. So there is my center of my sunflower. It is really big. I want it to be nice and big and fill up my page. So now all I have left to do is my petals, my stem, and my leaves. So I'll show you some easy ways to make some petals. And I like to overlap them over my center so it really looks natural. So what I like to do is I like to do two kinds of lines. You know what, I'll do it on the side so you guys can see. So what I do is I overlap the circle just a little bit and I start with a big smile. And this smile happens to go off the edge of the paper. And then right next to it, I draw a rainbow. And I just continue to do this over and over again all the way around. Now you can also kind of change the curves of them and curve it up and back down again just to make them look more natural. All right, now a sunflower has lots of different petals. So I'm gonna add another layer and it's gonna be in between my first petals. So all I do for that is I draw a V. Now for the stem. So because the stem, it's growing up towards the sky and we know the sky is near the top, I'm gonna add the stem down here. So I'm gonna pretend the stem is behind the flower and it's gonna grow down. So I'm gonna add two lines going from my petals to the bottom of the page. And sunflower stems are pretty thick, so I'm gonna make mine real thick too. And then I'm gonna add some leaves. So leaves are just like the petals, but I also like to make them a little bit curvy. So up, down, and back. Or a rainbow and a smile. And of course, leaves have veins, so I just add a line in the middle where the veins will go. For the fun part, the painting part. If you don't have paint, you can always outline it and then color it with your crayons, markers, or color pencils. But if you have paint, break those out today. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by painting my flower. So I'm gonna paint the petals. And what color are the petals? That's right, boys and girls, they are yellow. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint my petals yellow. Alright, now I'm gonna paint the center of my flower. So I'm gonna wash my brush real good. And I'm gonna add orange in the middle. So if you don't have orange, you can make it with two primary colors. That's right, red and yellow. Now when I use magenta instead of red. It just makes a nice brighter orange. But if you don't have magenta, regular red will work. And I'm gonna add it to the center of my flower. Right, so now I'm gonna do my stem. And what color is the stem gonna be? Oh, that's right, green. And if you don't have green, you could mix yellow and blue together. They make the perfect green. I like to add a little bit more yellow than blue just to make it a little bit brighter. Okay, and then I'm gonna paint my stem. All right, washing my brush in between. And all I have left is the sky. And I'm gonna add a little bit of white to my blue to make it a little bit lighter to make a pretty sky blue. So now I'm gonna carefully paint, not too carefully, because we're gonna outline last. That's right, we're gonna give a nice bold black outline. So, here we go. last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a dark black outline to everything. And I'm gonna add some details with my black lines. So that's what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna pick the smallest and thinnest brush I have. If you don't wanna do this with a brush because you're worried your lines will be too thick or too squiggly or you might ruin it, you can always wait until your picture is completely dry, and then you can add crayon or dark marker on top. Well, maybe not marker, marker will dry it out, but maybe something a little bit thinner. Oil pastel will be great. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to add my dark outline to my sunflowers. So here I go. So I think I'm gonna add a few more finishing touches to my sunflower to make it look really awesome. The first thing is I'm gonna add a little line in the middle of my petals just to give it a little bit more detail. So I'm just using my brush. And again, why I love paint is it's not supposed to be perfect, guys. You should see the paint strokes. We're not robots. We can't make things look perfect. All right, and then the last thing I'm gonna do is add my little seeds. So I just take my little brush and I add my little polka dots. And you don't have to add them everywhere. You can add them here and there, spread them out if you want to, but that's what's gonna make it look like a real sunflower, is those little seeds in the end. So I hope you enjoyed this fun little quick activity. Well, maybe not quick, but painting activity, and got to be free a little bit with your paints and not worry too much about it being perfect. So I hope you guys had fun making this one. I know I did, and I will see you next time. Bye.